My name's Luke Winder, and we own and run Tathra Place Free Range, which is a multi-speciated pasture-based regenerative farm just outside of Tathra, New South Wales. So Tathra Place Free Range is 100 acres, which is essentially a postage stamp in this neck of the woods. We turn out about 4.5 to 5.5 tonnes of beautiful chemical-free protein a week. We graze Japanese quail, which is a collaboration with Game Farm Australia. We do breast chickens, broilers, Aussie white lamb. We do a Hampshire cross Duroc pig, which is stunning. Speckled Park beef, and we do the beautiful Pekin Aylesbury duck. And we do all this completely chemical-free, without any pharmaceutical input, any spray input, petroleum fertiliser or anything like that.
Over the last 6 years that we've been here, we have experienced, one extreme to the other. We've had drought and, lost animals to wet periods where, there's actually been floods.
There were parts of the farm that we just could not use. We went from 100 acres down to probably 45 or 50. And then we've just had another really dry period where literally one of our other farms is burnt. So we've sort of seen the ups and downs of farming, even though it's only been 6 or 7 years.
I think farming's very, very unpredictable, and you just never know when those environmental factors and events are going to happen.
The most incredible thing about a regenerative system, especially when you're stacking the amount of enterprises I am, is the resilience is unbelievable. So with the cell grazed system, the fact that we're moving the animals so aggressively and putting down that level of fertility and creating constant disturbance, the ecosystem just responds to that. So we're pretty proud to say most places where you stop on Tathra Place Free Range, you're going to be able to see multiple species of animals. So we've got literally pigs in labour behind you. We've got baby ducks here, another batch of ducks, breast chickens, breeding flock of sows. There's some cattle down the hill here. That's the way it should be. That's the way it is in nature. Nowhere will you go in nature and see one species of anything, and that's what we're trying to replicate here. This here was the original dividing fence that splits the place in half from the front to the back. From this pivot point, we created our lane, which is the heart and soul, is the spine of the place. And off that, the way that it's structured is tree line, cell, lane, cell, tree line. It's worked really well in this ecology, and it gives us a level of management which is second to none. So when we started out here, we literally couldn't even drive down the driveway. We had to come in through the neighbour. Of the 100 acres, it was about 60% blackberry, bracken fern and serrated tussock. So it became abundantly clear very early on that we had a lot of issues with weeds. It's not where we started, but that's where the enterprise stacking started. Pigs are a huge part of the eradication of the weeds. Then we had a fertility issue. So it's fantastic to get rid of the blackberry, but unless you fix your management and you fix the fertility in the soil, it's going to keep bouncing back. So that's how the duck started, and I learnt pretty quickly that the fertility out the back end of a duck is far superior to anything else I'd seen. And then of course, the restarting the biomass process once you've got the grass growing, that needs to be a ruminant. And that's when we started getting into cattle. It's a very delicate dance. It's a ballet, and the way the animals are moved is very deliberate. This particular cell has had all the animals cycle through it for about the last 5 years. So it's deep into the management process. And I mean, naively, you could look at this and think, oh, come on, mate, this isn't great. Mate, give this 3 weeks. It'll be insane. The growth we get out of the duck fertility is crazy. This won't get re-drilled. Every seed from the last 1,000 years is really enjoying this fertility. And so it's been grazed, it's been disturbed or massaged, I like to call it, with pigs. It's then had the ducks over it for 4 weeks. This will get close to 12 months rest. That's the key to the whole thing. You can get your disturbance wrong, you can get your fertility wrong, you can't get your period of rest wrong. That has to be set in stone. So part of our process here has been when we're creating the level of disturbance we are, and a lot of it is deliberate, especially in the case of the pigs. We worked in with Soils for Life, and we got an amazing snapshot of the fertility levels and the biology and what was deficient and what needed waking up, whether it needs nitrogen brought up. A big issue we had here was cobalt. A lot of the inoculants that we're using now are specific data that we have received from the Soils for Life case study, which was an incredible process. So we are doing pasture improvement, and we do add to our seed bank. but it's all completely no-till, and we're still encouraging that native perennial. We're just trying to add to it to fix some of the issues we've got in our soils. It's going to give us a huge amount of feed, you know, autumn, winter feed. It's money in the bank. This is what people forget. If we're growing grass, we're making money. So amazing insight into the diversity and the biology of this particular soil, which gave us incredible insight into the management and exactly what we should do in this paddock.
My background is in accounting and finance and also IT, so Luke and I really complement each other with, you know, his practical skills, but also my business skills. And, you know, he doesn't like looking at the numbers and being on a computer very often, but I think, you know, he gets it. He understands why it's important. You know, efficiency and our inputs and outputs and all that stuff that's really important to the budget and to the bottom line.
The best thing about the small acreage system is we're not driving around all day. We're definitely not driving around in 200 horsepower tractors spraying, ploughing and sowing. And I can tell you 100% confidently, without a shadow of a doubt, we are deep down the realm of carbon negativity here. We have a 50 horsepower tractor. We put about 20 litres of diesel in a month. We run a little buggy and we walk around. Our energy input is so disgustingly low. We have a huge solar array. We're actually pumping a lot of energy back into the grid. Our brooder system is energy free. This is my duck brooder shed. So this is based on Joel Salton's deep carbonaceous diaper system. The premise and the idea being that all the nitrogen that comes out the back end of the duck actually gets consumed by the carbon that's obviously they're standing on. It's got to be about 400 mil thick, in my opinion, to really start working. I can feel that already. It's already pretty hot in my fingers. Once you get the deep carbon system working properly, it generates a ridiculous amount of heat. I don't think I've ever switched that thing on. It is a truckload of work. So we're literally in here like a compost every single day turning this in. So that's turning wood chips into soil. That's how this process, that's what composting is. Very, very good for the birds. In turn, very, very good for the consumer. Good for the environment, not using any energy. And then it's obviously additional organic matter for our pastures as well. With this regenerative system we've put in place, I honestly believe we've added about an inch of topsoil. I dug every single hole for every single post on this place. For the first 3 years, I never ever saw an earthworm. Every time you stick a shovel in the ground now, you're murdering 3 or 4 earthworms. It's phenomenal, the results we've got there with the biology in the soil. Another earthworm here, happy chappies. The mycorrhizal activity is abundant now, and then water retention and absorption has gone through the roof. Every percentage point of organic matter you can increase in your topsoil, you're going to retain thousands of litres of water. It's a giant sponge now and it's just absorbing that rain. It's super exciting. Regenerative forms of agriculture is the only way of sequestering carbon, as far as I know. If you were to take a snapshot of 10 square metres of pasture land and see how much biomass it creates in the period of 10 or 15 years, it's by far the best form of drawing down the carbon and storing it in the topsoils. So it's got a massive role moving forward. The resilience in this system is overwhelming. Our ecosystem that we've created within our soils and our pasture has been phenomenal. The resilience of the business is a big one. Having multiple species, having multiple enterprises, going down the road of having the butcher shop, the level of resilience that we've gained from that is amazing.
That whole story of the animals and our soil health and regenerating the land has actually brought the consumers to us, and that's why we've been successful. I'm looking forward to seeing it grow. We've still got so many different opportunities that we haven't tapped into. Teaching a lot of other younger farmers as well that want to do something similar.
This is replicable. That's the exciting thing. It's not just scalable, it's replicable. We need to put an emphasis on teaching people that are interested how to farm this way, and as a result of that, heal more land, sequester more carbon, build more topsoil, and produce more completely chemical-free, pharmaceutical-free protein.